After the death of their first son, King David, and Bathsheba was blessed with another son named Solomon, upon whom it is written that God loved him. Despite not being the firstborn, David made an oath to Bathsheba that Solomon would succeed him as king. Solomon, the third king of Israel, known for his outstanding intelligence, built the first temple and married 1,000 women. He was anointed king during his father's lifetime by Zadok the priest and Nathan the prophet, fulfilling the request of his mother Bathsheba, and his father David. 1 Kings 1 verse 34. There have Zadok the priest and Nathan the prophet anoint him king over Israel. Blow the trumpet and shout, long live King Solomon. It all started in response to Adoniah son of Haggith's desire to reign. Bathsheba quickly took control and asked David to enthrone Solomon. After King David passed away, Solomon, who was only 12 years old at the time, was appointed as the king of Israel. King Solomon, through his political connections and astute leadership, expanded and strengthened the kingdom of Israel. However, his actions ultimately led to the downfall of the kingdom that his father David had established. During the days of King Solomon, even the sand became a part of the holy system. It was said that Solomon not only dealt with matters of the sacred, but he also managed to turn hatrel into sweet. In a vision that Solomon had while journeying to Gibeon, God appeared to him and asked what he desired. At Gibeon the Lord appeared to Solomon during the night in a dream, and God said, "Ask for whatever you want me to give you." 1 Kings 3 verse 5. Solomon humbly requested a listening heart, enabling him to discern between good and bad, and to make wise judgments. So give your servant a discerning heart to govern your people and to distinguish between right and wrong. 1 Kings 3 verse 9. Solomon divided the land into 12 districts, each managed by a commissioner who oversaw the affairs of the king and his household. This signified that the kingdom of Israel would be a strong kingdom, capable of competing with the mighty kingdoms of Babylon, Assyria, Egypt, and Tyre. In the 4th year of his reign, he embarked on the construction of the temple dedicated to the God of Israel. The building of the temple lasted 7 years, and about 108,000 people were involved in the construction. Nations from all around the kingdom came to Jerusalem, with the name of the God of Israel in their mouths. They came to visit King Solomon and witness the magnificent temple he had built for his God in Jerusalem. The whole world sought audience with Solomon to hear the wisdom God had put in his heart. 1 Kings 10 verse 24. On one hand, he is the one who built the temple. However, on the other hand, King Solomon disregarded divine prohibitions by giving many wives, silver, and gold. King Solomon placed his trust in his own wisdom, believing that the presence of numerous women would not lead him astray from God's path. But what was Solomon's purpose in this act? Why did King Solomon choose to marry 1,000 wives? King Solomon married the daughters of all the kings and chiefs of the tribes in the world. Solomon's goal was to unite the entire world through the king's house and his own personal influence. He ambitiously sought to uplift all mankind single-handedly. However, it was also his mistake. The situation got so bad that even King Solomon, known for his wisdom and the builder of the temple, ended up creating idolatrous platforms for his wives. It may seem perplexing that the wisest man of all would engage in building altars for foreign purposes. It is evident that King Solomon did not worship idols, and it is possible that he did not even establish the altars. However, it is important to note that these actions were carried out with his knowledge and approval. King Solomon wanted to gather all the works of the idols under his protection and unite them into one great service to God, since idolatry outside of Jerusalem was considered obscene. Despite lacking sufficient strength, the prophets warned King Solomon that his actions would lead to the division of the kingdom. Just as the influence of idolatry can divide people spiritually, it can also break the kingdom politically. In the prayer recited by King Solomon during the dedication of the temple, he emphasizes that the temple is not only for the people of Israel but for the entire world. 1 Kings 8 verses 41 to 43. As for the foreigner who does not belong to your people Israel but has come from a distant land because of your name, for they will hear of your great name and your mighty hand and your outstretched arm, when they come and pray toward this temple, then hear from heaven, your dwelling place. Do whatever the foreigner asks of you, so that all the peoples of the earth may know your name and fear you, as do your own people Israel, and may know that this house I have built bears your name. Solomon, who married 700 wives and had 300 concubines, did so to establish long-lasting peace agreements with their kings, as was typical in ancient times. Despite their status as respected and wealthy queens, some of King Solomon's wives continued to worship idols and even built altars in their honor. On a hill east of Jerusalem, Solomon built a high place for Chemosh, the detestable god of Moab, and for Molech, the detestable god of the Ammonites. He did the same for all his foreign wives, who burned incense and offered sacrifices to their gods. 1 Kings 11 verses 7 to 8. This does not imply that King Solomon turned into an idolater. The Bible employs strong language in accordance with the principle we have observed, wherein it does not shy away from criticizing even the seemingly minor sins. This harsh criticism is voiced because Solomon did not prevent them from continuing the custom, even when they came to Israel and lived in the houses he built for them. As a king, he is responsible for the actions of those under his influence. Out of Solomon's 1,000 wives, 2 of them were notable figures, Pharaoh's daughter, the Queen of Sheba, and Naamah the Ammonite. Solomon made an alliance with Pharaoh king of Egypt and married his daughter. He brought her to the city of David until he finished building his palace and the temple of the Lord, and the wall around Jerusalem. 1 Kings 3 verse 1. The Queen of Sheba, Pharaoh's daughter, heard about Solomon and the glorious wisdom of God that was revealed in his kingdom. With many companions by her side and a heavy load, she arrived in Jerusalem. Camels carried her treasures, including a great deal of gold and precious stones. She approached Solomon and asked him everything she wanted to know. Solomon answered all of her questions, demonstrating his extensive knowledge and wisdom. The Queen of Sheba was impressed by the wisdom of Solomon and the glorious palace he had built. His table was full of delicious food, his advisors, assistants, and servants displayed impeccable behavior and clothing, and the pilgrims' sacrifices in the house of God left her breathless. The things I heard in my country about you and your wisdom are true, she said to the king. I didn't believe them until I came and saw for myself. I was not even told half the truth. Your wisdom and wealth exceed what I was told. Your people are happy, and your assistants are happy too. They faithfully serve you and listen to your wisdom. Blessed is the Lord your God, who loves Israel eternally and has chosen you to lead and govern with justice and compassion. After the marriage, Solomon received the city of Gezer, which Pharaoh had conquered from the Canaanites. Solomon placed great importance on his marriage to Pharaoh's daughter and dedicated a special palace just for her. The construction of this palace took 13 years, while the building of the temple took 7 years. Naamah, the daughter of the king of Ammon, is the second woman specifically mentioned in the Bible. Unlike Pharaoh's daughter, she is mentioned by her first name. Two foreign women are considered to be the queen mothers, Ruth the Moabite, grandmother of David, and Naamah the Ammonite, who gave birth to Rehoboam, Solomon's successor. God was angry with Solomon because he had turned away from the God of Israel, who had revealed himself to him twice and commanded him not to worship other gods. But Solomon did not obey God's commandments, which is why God expressed his disappointment to Solomon. Nevertheless, for the sake of David your father, I will not do it during your lifetime. I will tear it out of the hand of your son. Yet I will not tear the whole kingdom from him, but will give him one tribe for the sake of David my servant and for the sake of Jerusalem, which I have chosen. 1 Kings 11 verses 11 to 12. Because you have not kept the covenant with me and disregarded the laws I gave you, I will forcefully take the kingdom from you and give it to one of your servants. God incited Hadad the Edomite, a descendant of the king of Edom, and Jeroboam the son of Nebat against Solomon. This is the same Hadad, a young man who fled to Egypt after King David commanded Joab, his army minister, to kill all the males in Edom. Hadad and his men journeyed from Midian to Paran, bringing people with them, and eventually arrived in Egypt, where they sought refuge with Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. Pharaoh had given Hadad a house and fields, and had also ordered to provide him with food. When Hadad heard in Egypt that David and Joab, his commander of the army, had died, he approached Pharaoh and asked. Then Hadad said to Pharaoh, "Let me go, that I may return to my own country." 1 Kings 11 verse 21. The second to whom God gave Solomon's kingdom is Jeroboam, the son of Nebat from the tribe of Ephraim, was one of Solomon's men who rebelled against the king. Solomon recognized Ephraim's hard-working nature and appointed him to oversee all the workers from Manasseh and Ephraim. During that time, Jeroboam departed from Jerusalem, and on his way, he encountered the prophet Ahijah of Shiloh. The prophet, who happened to be her brother, seized the new garment Jeroboam was wearing and tore it into 12 pieces. Then he said to Jeroboam, "Take 10 pieces for yourself, for this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says, See, I am going to tear the kingdom out of Solomon's hand and give you 10 tribes." 1 Kings 11 verse 31. For the sake of David's servants in the city of Jerusalem, which God has chosen from among all the tribes of Israel, one tribe will remain for Solomon. Solomon, upon noticing Jeroboam's growing rebellion, desired to kill him. As a result, Jeroboam quickly fled to Egypt, seeking refuge with Shishak, the Egyptian king. He remained there until Solomon died. Solomon ruled for 40 years in Jerusalem over all of Israel. After his death, he was buried in the city of David, his father, and his son Rehoboam succeeded him as king. Solomon's sin was not in foreign work, but rather in his failure to stop his wives and protest against their idol worship. Commentators have suggested that Jeroboam's attack against Solomon was triggered by the building of the palace for Pharaoh's daughter. We hope you learned something new today. If you did, give this video a like and share it with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more informative and entertaining content. See you next time.